How much of your program details would you suggest be nailed down before promoting it? This is a great question. I teach 7 steps. There's 7 different P's that I teach in nailing down your offer. And so your offer and your product are 2 different things. So knowing your program and what it's going to do for your client and what your deliverables are and all of that is really, really important. We always talk about it in this capacity. So your product or your program is essentially the airplane that's going to get somebody from island A to island B, right? The thing inside the airplane is what's going to cause the transformation. So inside the airplane, it's not necessarily your program or your product that's going to get them to move the needle and get the transformation, but it might be what's inside the program. So for example, we work with a lot of coaches who are fitness coaches or nutritionists. It's not necessarily that your 12-week program is the one thing that people haven't tried and it's the one thing that's going to get them results, but it might be your approach or your method. So maybe inside your approach or method, you're all about intermittent fasting, and that's the thing that you believe is going to get people results, right? Maybe you're a CrossFit coach and that's the thing that's going to get the results. Maybe you're into macro or calorie counting. Maybe you're into whatever it is, right? So there's something inside of your product, your program, or your process that's actually the thing that's going to get the person the result. But your whole program or process is the vehicle that's going to get them from A to B. So we want to be mindful that we're not selling the vehicle, AKA a 12-week group coaching program with 150 calls and a 1,000,000-page workbook and all this homework and blah, 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 because that's work and nobody wants to do it. But rather you want to focus on what's the transformation. So when you ask how much of your program details do you need to know before promoting it, it's like everything and nothing, okay? So I can't get into the 7 Ps here, but I've taught this before. Has anyone ever come to Digital Business Evolution's live experience? We used to run it twice a year, and now we run it once a year. It is a huge 2.5-week experience. It's totally free. I'm in a studio. We're doing like all this amazing content. We have got prizes and contests and workbooks, and it's essentially, I think, 13 hours of me coaching completely for free. I don't know if anyone's ever been there. If you have, say me, if you've ever come to a DBE Live before, but inside of DBE Live, as well as our signature program, Empower, we teach a 7P process. So basically you need to know, and I'm not going to break it down now, but you need to know what's the promise of transformation, what's the process you're going to take the person through, what are the pains that they've struggled with, and sort of where have they been before, what have they already tried, what's going to be the position that you take in like the flag in the sand stance that you take in your business or in your process, what are going to be the different deliverables. So is there going to be a live coaching component? How many weeks is it going to be? Is it totally evergreen? Can they go through it by themselves? Is it something that they can join anytime? Are there cohorts that come through and you only let people join when you open the doors? How are they going to get through the content? Do they have lifetime access to the content? Are you going to offer a guarantee of some sort for the content or for the product, I should say? So these are all really important things. I also teach a process that I created back in 2009, and I call it Post It to Profit, and I've taught it to thousands and thousands of people. And this is a method of basically taking what's in your head, what you do with clients, and understanding exactly what the curriculum is that you're going to be creating, whether that's for a membership, high ticket, low ticket, group coaching program, course, anything in between, literally doesn't matter. So we teach this method to help you get it out of your head and then get it out on paper, on Post-it notes to be exact. And we teach you how to create a curriculum with that. So what I would have you do is get really clear on the person, the transformation, the promise of your product or your process, the process or your framework, right? And then your curriculum. So this is a skeleton framework of your curriculum. It needs to be malleable. You need to be okay with changing how much you put in. Maybe you need more, changing the order of it. But ultimately, what are the things that need to happen for the person to get the promised transformation that you're saying that they're going to get? Once you have all of that information down and you know the language and the messaging and all of that, then you come up with the price point and all the deliverables, like I said, and then you launch it. So what we teach is we teach you to monetize before you make it. We teach you to cash in before you ever create it. This is something where I stick a flag in the sand, like absolutely my biggest belief here. Don't sway me in any other way because you can't. I don't think that you should create anything, meaning filming modules or creating PDFs or building out a slideshow or making workbook pages until you've actually sold your product. So you're going to go through, when you're in my world, you go through a process of validating, so market research and validating that your messaging, your product, and your process is actually what people want and need. Then you go through a period of teasing out what you're creating, just to validate that one more time and get everyone hyped up and ready to go. This is the Hollywood effect. It's what they do with movies, right? They start teasing it around Christmas, and then it doesn't come out until Memorial Day. And then after the tease, you get into the promotional period, which would then trigger you into your launch. Now, something I say all the time, in fact, someone told me this yesterday that I say it all the time, you're never not launching. So Jeff Walker wrote the book Launch. It's a great book. If you haven't read it, you totally should. It's part of our book list. We have a free book list. If you didn't know, you could jump on that. It's filled with hundreds and hundreds of books, all that I have read. They're all broken down into either 9 or 11 different categories, from business to marketing to copy to mindset to content creation to health and everything in between, scaling your team. And all the books are linked with the author and the book, and you can go right to Amazon and buy those. So we have a great book list. It's a free resource. You can totally have it. If you want it, just DM me the word, just DM me book list, and I'll get it to you. Or you could just put little book emoji right now into the comments and I'll take a screenshot. But Jeff Walker's book Launch, he walks you through the 4 different steps of a launch. So he teaches a 4-step process when you're in pre-launch, pre-launch, regular launch, and post-launch. Well, I've taken that and I've created my own process around it, because I've been doing this for over a decade, and I've come up with my own process and my own formula that I see to work best. So over the years, I've created an 8-part framework. So I have an 8-part framework that I teach when it comes to launching. So Jeff Walker's book is amazing. Don't get me wrong. His 4-step process is great, but I teach an 8-step process. And so with that, you're never not launching. You're always in some capacity of a launch. It's really important to know where you're at and what phase you're in, so that you can effectively speak to your audience members, and that when it does come time for you to promote and sell something, that's when it's effortless and it's so easy and you're so aligned and you're a magnetic and all these things that all these coaches are promising, right? Which is fine, not throwing shade, just calling it like it is. So my answer is, you're gonna follow a good, solid, proven process that works. Come to any one of my free trainings, because I teach it in a lot of them, but I'm happy to chat about it. Maybe I'll even create an Instagram post on it. But really what you want to do is you want to get clear on your process. You want to get clear on the promise of transformation. You want to get clear on the pain points, the language, what have they done before? What are your deliverables? What is the bare minimum needed in order for somebody to actually have the transformation that you're promising? That's really, really important. What's the bare minimum? Most of us humans, especially coaches, we like to overdo it. We like to pack our courses, we like to pack our programs, because our egos think that more is more and more is better, and we think that more means we're more valuable and that people are going to have a better experience. But really, more usually just means a lot of work, overwhelming, stressed out, they can't complete it, they can't finish it, now they're feeling down on themselves, now they actually feel like a failure, which is totally disempowering and the opposite of how you wanted them to feel. And so honestly, less is more. You don't need to pack your program full of every piece of information you've ever learned. I can promise you that. So a lot of different things. We actually also have a free training. Gosh, this is old though. It's probably from 2017, but there is a free training called Post It to Profit, like I was telling you about before, that we used to use as an email opt-in. I'm happy to give that to you. My hesitation is that it is 6 years old and has not been updated. And while the process is the same and still works, the delivery of it's probably not going to be that great. So let's hold off. Maybe I'll redo it. Content creators have been quoted saying they're in a recessionary environment when it comes to people buying online courses. Do you see this change? Do you see this changing soon? So that's interesting. FD, I haven't actually heard that. So I've gotten no pushback from clients, potential clients, or anyone in my world. No one's really talking about recession or like stressing out over money. Has there been a shift since 2020? Yeah, absolutely. The entire coaching industry and online world has changed since 2020, but it's also changed since I got in it in 2012. So it's always changing, because we're always changing and evolving. Technology and social norms and the political landscape, like all of that stuff is always changing. So what I say there is, whether there's a change coming or not, whether the market is saturated or not, your job is to out-sophisticate the market. That's it. So if the recession is an issue, then you need to out-sophisticate your messaging. Maybe you do want to tweak, and maybe you want to offer extended payment plans or something like that. Maybe you want to come up with a new offer that's more affordable for your ideal client. But you really want to lean into that and do that through conversations, not through on a whim, I heard from, so-and-so said a game of telephone. Because the other thing too is like your ideal client might not feel the same way about it that someone else is talking about it in their niche or their industry or their price point. So a perfect example would be me, because I'm helping people build businesses. Yes, they might be fearful of investing, or financial crisis and stuff might be a reality, and the reality is supply chain, right? Things are more expensive now than they have been. But for me, when someone wants to build a business, it's oftentimes, yes, they have this passion and they want to do it, or the safety net's been pulled, they were recently let go of their job and they have to make ends meet. So it's very different than like, oh, I'm going to go buy a $2,000 course on, doing at-home workouts. It just depends on who is your ideal client, what's the value of transformation for them. And that's going back to the very first question that popped up here today, which was like, how much do you need to know of your product or program before you start selling it? So you need to know the skeleton, the framework, the transformation, the process, the value of transformation for the person. What have they tried before, so on and so forth. And with that, my friends, I do have to pop today. I know that was such a quickie, but let me see if they're okay. Awesome. If you want the book list, I took a screenshot. Please give me a little bit of time as I'm rushing out the door right now, but I will make sure to personally DM you and I will get you that book list link. I will see you on Monday in our next morning coffee chat. I don't even have a coffee with me today, honestly. I just have my water bottle and that's it. We are done. Your girl's going glass blowing. This will be my second time going and I'm so excited. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Thanks for being here. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you loved this episode, I invite you to be a part of our ripple effect and share it with a friend. And please, if you feel called, take 30 seconds to leave a 5-star review and I'll be forever grateful. Until next time, cheers to your evolution.